Now, I just said a minute ago that 2000 is now the official world of classic cars, which is just so disturbing for me, especially when we think about the likes of that being, you know, your Honda S2000s, Toyota MR2 Mark 1, Nissan Skyline, like, it's a worrying thought, isn't it?
It is. The world's moving on.
Yeah. And that's also making me think of a certain PlayStation, like Gran Turismo. Is that where we should look for modern classics now?
I think it's a very good starting place, because all those cars that were, you know, in a sense, the cars to own, drive, race in the 90s, you know, are now being the cars to collect in the current day. Are you looking at Nissan Skyline GTRs, look at the MR2s, look at the Subaru Imprezas, all this sort of stuff, which, you know, are, if you get the right model, are achieving really high values these days.
Yeah, you'd agree?
Absolutely, you know, Gran Turismo was such a huge impact on you know, particularly millennial car buyers who are now coming into the market, and they have those you know, disposable funds which they can use to spend on cars. I mean, the other thing which I think as well is you know, it's also what, 21 years I think since Top Gear did its reboot as well, so that became very much you know, Sunday night's petrolhead stablehead viewing for so many people, and a lot of those cars that were on the telly every Sunday night, those cars are now the cars that are being treated as classics.
Yeah.
And from our point of view, Meta Motors started filming in 1995 through to 2010. We've got 15 years of new car tests, which are currently now available on YouTube that viewers are watching. The biggest hits we're getting, though, isn't to the supercars. And the interesting thing now that we're seeing is things like Prius. A Prius at the moment, which is your average Uber car, 10 years from now, when they're all burnt out and there are no batteries left running these things, will become quite selective. In the same way as perhaps a Lancia dissolved sometime in the 1970s, and they're very, very rare.
Wow.
So it's not just about supercars, it will be about all cars. Now, let's also think that we're running now into an area of the Scalextrics generation.
Yeah, of course.
Golf caddies becoming cars, milk floats becoming cars. We're going to see a generation of future classics, perhaps going back to the very early two-seater Tesla that never really made it out of the blocks. There was a few built, some caught fire and burnt out. So we're going to see a whole generation now of cars going through. The last part of the thinking about cars is who is going to be the customer to buy a car 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Because Generation X aren't buying cars themselves at 17. They're going in Ubers, they're a generation that like to be delivered. So we're seeing a niche market be delivered in a way that perhaps in the 1960s, when you wanted your MGB or you wanted to drive your TR6 or whatever it was, you became a fascination of your mates at that time and your peers. Perhaps the love has gone a little bit. And that'll be interesting to see how the value of modern day classics comes in.
I'd certainly agree with you. You know, that's where the love is. These days, you know, it's what you.
Sorry, I thought you had a picture on your phone there.
Not that kind of love. No, sorry. But you know, it's about social media, about engagement. You know, it's about tech. It's moving on from. So you know, the traditional posted on the walls of of kids. You know, kind of the technology is moving on, and also I would argue that. You know, the cars that people are buying now are now diverging further than ever away from classic cars. They're bought for different reasons. They're bought as a lease car on a finance package, as a mode of transport, first and foremost. So, whereas, you know, the classic cars, you know, they're bought for a whole range of other highly emotional reasons. So.